G'day Bodgies and Widgies and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to give you an update of the brand new fish room that I'm going to be moving into in about 5 to 6 months from now. This is actually on a house that my parents are building on their dream 8-acre farm property in regional Victoria. This is going to be such a major shift in our lifestyle as we move from suburban living into more regional farm style living, and all of that is going to be documented on this channel. But the farm life aside, I've got this brand new fish room which gives me so many opportunities to expand my hobby, get larger aquariums, and that's exactly what I wanted to share with you today. I've been able to collect a little bit of a timeline to when the fish room was in its very early stages to where it is now. We're about halfway complete, and I also just wanted to talk you through some of the ideas for the larger aquariums that I had planned there. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you stick around to the end because I want to get all of your input as to what you might do differently to the ideas that I've proposed, and if there's anything that you've done in your fish room that you would definitely recommend for me to do, I'd love to hear all of that in the comment section down below. However, enough talking from me in this current room, let's jump over to the new fish room. Alright, Bodgies and Widgies, we're here back at the farm again, and things are looking real promising. So, we're looking right at the new fish room. How insane is that? But, if I come back a little bit, so right beside the fish room, we've got the garage, and that over there is a tap which will be right outside. Super convenient, just in case I need to bring anything out, hose it down. But we've got a really big sliding door, so this is about 3 feet across, which means I can bring in a tank that's 3 feet wide without any issues. So once we jump in, there's the door to enter the fish room. And right next to it, over here, we've got the sink. So the sink will go there. That's hot and cold water connection. Over there is a floor drain. So just in case water spills, one of the tanks leak or something floods, I can send water straight out to the floor drain. And we're looking at a 4 meter by 3 meter space. So plenty of room. I think what I'll probably do is have like one real big display, something like 6 feet by 3 feet, or potentially bigger than that over here. That'll be for Neo. I would like to actually have two, so have like a big native Australian lungfish display, and then over here have a really big South American display where all the freshwater stingrays can go. And then on this side, still not entirely sure. I know that I want to have like a seating area or something like that over here. I also do need to fit like a workbench, a table, stuff like that. So it's still in the plans, and I really just need to knuckle down on the tank sizes that I'm actually going to have here. But so far, I think it looks really good. Now, I'll walk you around the space first, and then I will talk about the actual plan for the display that I have. So essentially, the room that I'm in now is 4 meters exactly long, 2.9 meters wide. Right over here is pretty much the easiest point of entry and exit from the room. It's the biggest door that I have, which is a 3-foot sliding door. So from the start there to here is exactly 3 feet. Where you guys are right now is basically the door that goes into the rest of the house. I'm pretty sure that's 80 centimeters wide. The height, it's pretty damn tall. I think it's like 2 meters tall. All the ceilings and the doors in this house are elevated, so we've got plenty of space in and out. But this is really good for bringing in any big tanks, which is what I plan on having. Plus also there is a tap right outside this door, which gives me access to cold water. That's just rainwater. The entire house is actually going to be on rainwater, which I'll then be able to purify through like carbon filters and RODI system if I need to have that. But having this door here makes it really handy in case I need to have water storage through an IBC or to bring in a hose of outside water or something like that. The actual room though does have a sink, so we've got a sink that provides hot and cold water, again rainwater, because this house doesn't have any sort of town water or municipal water connection. But there is a sink that gives me hot and cold water, and I'll basically tee off that to have automatic water changes that go through the entire fish room, depending on where I have tanks. So water changes and moving water in or out, or aquariums in or out, isn't necessarily a big concern because I've got access for all of that. Now, across the entire fish room, I do have a series of double plug point power points that are into the wall. So basically there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 3 of which are down low like you would normally see in a house, and I've got one that's slightly elevated, and I'll talk about that in a moment where I walk you around. The entire room is insulated because this is actually part of the house. Although this is almost designed to be a third car garage or second car garage, this was retrofitted to be a fish room. Massive shout out to my parents for allowing me to do this, but essentially it is like a bedroom. It's insulated like a bedroom, like a living space, so it's going to function like that. The only different thing about this space though is the flooring. It is going to remain as concrete flooring that I'll paint over. The reason for that is because I actually have a floor drain in this room, which is really handy in case I ever need to hose the floor down, or if there's ever a leak in the fish room, or even with the automatic water changes to have water go straight into the ground, and then that'll go into the septic system that we have. But now, let me talk about the displays. So, this section here is where I plan on having the series of big displays. Now, I want to try and fit as much as I can in the room whilst keeping it meaningful. And I'd like to keep myself towards the larger aquariums just because personally I find them way easier to maintain than the nano tanks or most of the nano tanks that I have now. But starting off, this is probably going to be the primary focus for pretty much the entire fish room for 2024. And that is going to be 2 big display aquariums where one will be on the floor. The dimensions I'm thinking of are either 6 foot long by 4 feet wide by 2 feet tall, or 8 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 2 feet tall. To give you a little bit of perspective, 4 feet wide is pretty much from the corner of the wall over there, and it comes out to bang on this window here. So pretty much where the sliding door ends is where 4 feet wide is. And that makes it really good because that way it doesn't obstruct any sort of entry or exit into the sliding door. The only thing I've got to keep in mind is just spacing it from the wall and also from the window over here. But that should only be a couple of centimeters, so we pretty much should be within that 4 feet bracket, which works out pretty well. So that's 4 feet wide. Now 6 feet long I've marked it out on the floor, so 6 feet would start from here and it would come to around about this point. So it's pretty big distance, 6 feet, and that should technically be more than what I need. So the reason I wanted to have 2 displays, so there will be a 6 foot by 4 foot on the ground. On top of that, about 2 feet high off the ground, will be the second display, which will be the South American display, and that will be the same aquarium size, but off the ground. So the plan is to have the South American display here with my freshwater stingrays and all the other larger South American fish that I've got. Down the bottom will be the native Australian display. The reason I wanted to have the native Australian display down the bottom with my Australian lungfish is just because, one, the South American display technically has more display style fish, larger fish, that'll be a lot more of the center of attraction, whereas the native Australian display is purely a display for my Australian lungfish Neo. By having him down the bottom, it gives me a lot more of a better opportunity to interact with that fish, look at hand training him, have a lot more easier access to that fish, and that's ideally what I'd prefer. But this is again where I want your thoughts of whether you'd have the Australian display up the top with the Australian lungfish and a whole bunch of smaller native Australian fish like a big school of rainbows, or if you'd have the South American display with the Oscars, the freshwater stingrays, all of those bigger South American fish that I'm growing out. So that's the idea here. It'll be an extruded aluminium stand, so the bottom tank might be 2 feet or 45 centimeters tall, plus a foot of clearance, and then we'd have the South American display on top of that. So that's the rough idea, at least, of what I have now. Alrighty, Bodgies and Widgies, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really happy that this is the last video that I'm putting out this year. Although I still do have a lot of videos from my Sydney trip. They'll all be coming in the new year, along with a whole bunch of videos that I've recorded in this current room, because so much is constantly changing here in preparation for this new room. Fish I want to take over, fish I'm considering to maybe not take, also breeding that's been happening in this current room. There's just so much I need to update you on. It's just a matter of recording all of that and giving it out to you because there is so much content in the pipeline. It's kind of overwhelming at this point. There's like 5 or 6 videos that I have to edit, plus a lot more that I need to film, but that's all to come. And thank you so much for all of the support that you've given me in this year. I've been able to grow so much. The channel is finally monetized, which means the revenue that I earn from these videos is going to be such a massive help for me to build the new FISHROOM, and that would not have happened without all of the support that you've provided me, whether you're subscribed, whether you're watching for the first time, whether you're not subscribed but still regularly watch, whatever it might be. All of the time, love, and support that you've given me has given me so many opportunities to grow in this year, and I just cannot express my words enough. Massive thank you for everything you've done for me this year. However, thank you for watching this video, and if you do enjoy it and you want to see further updates of the FISHROOM, feel free to give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing so that way you're up to date with any future videos that I put out, because next year is just going to be an absolute whirlwind. However, that's essentially it from me this year. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay happy, stay safe, stay Australian. Bodgie out.